Hi guys, Jen here with Astrology and Earth Magic. So today we're going to talk about the full moon coming up in the sign of Aries. It's 14 degrees and 8 minutes of Aries, so smack dab in the middle. This is going to be on Monday, October 6th. And here on the east coast of the United States, it's 11:47 Eastern Standard Time p.m. So we are just about out of eclipse season, and it was a doozy. Lots of crazy shit has been happening. Sorry to swear, but it's been crazy. Like one thing after another. Just when you think that things are going to be calm down a little bit, something else happens. And I apologize for not putting out my October astrology forecast this month, but our return home from vacation was kind of the same as everything that's been going on around the world. It was met with tons of stress, and I just didn't have the time, or did I have the energy to do it, or the mental capacity to do it. So I'm gonna kind of incorporate a lot of that in this video. So I hope you did get to watch and enjoy our vacation videos that we put up with the eclipse on the Continental Divide, our hotel reviews that we did, a funny animal video. So if you haven't seen them, check out the travel vlog playlist on my site, and I will link that whole playlist at the end. So a lot of cool stuff in there anyway. If you guys are looking to travel, astrocartography, any of that, lots of interesting things to learn. So, but with this video, again, we will get into some of the important aspects that are coming up this month, as well as just this full moon on its own. So let's talk full moon. So this full moon in Aries is kind of on its own. It's not making any major aspects to any other planets. It kind of just sits there on that Libra, that Aries Libra axis, and it is sure to be fiery because this is in cardinal fire sign. So that's actions, that's fire, that's passion. So we may feel the desire, like pulling away from Libra because it's on that axis. So it's kind of like an opposition, of course, with the sun, but it's got that desire for independence. It's a self-determination, self-reliance, like I can take care of myself kind of vibes going on right here. I know I'm seeing that in the stresses that are going on in our lives right now, as we have this independence thing where we're trying to help, and then it's kind of getting that pushback. So you might be feeling like that. You might be dealing with that with other people, or you might be feeling like that yourself. If you're tired of being, dependent on others, and with the ruler Mars, so the ruler of Aries is Mars, and that's in Scorpio, we feel deeply passionate, deeply determined to really, kind of do things on our own, and you're not going to change my mind. This is the way it's going to be. So you're either going to be feeling that or dealing with that. But on a good note, our sex lives might be a little deeper and more intense as well. Because of course that passionate Scorpio, hot-blooded Aries, y'all might be feeling the need for a little more erotic excitement and a little less romance, because we have that, that would be the more Libra and the more Taurus-y, but now we're having a little more of that erotic. So Venus is still in Virgo and is closing in and applying opposition to Saturn in the sign of Pisces. So you may be craving, again, that independence, but more in the idea of alone time. Saturn is that kind of one on the outside. So you might want to put yourself on the outside, like I am here. I'm sitting at these old relics here in the woods. Thought it was really fitting for everything that's kind of going on. You might want some alone time again, just like me and Chili here. She's running around like crazy. Obviously, she doesn't want to hang out with me. So get out, venture, on your own, get secluded a little bit so you have that peace and kind of that, serenity. If you have a woods that you can get out in, get out, feel the cooler air. Here in New England, it's nice and cool. So you see, I even had to wear a jacket. Leaves are falling all around. And then on Monday, it's going to be 80s here. So the weather here in New England really reminds me of all the outer planets that are now retrograde. So it's like, can't hold back. I got to go back. I got to go, so it's like, okay, it's getting cooler. Nights are getting cooler. Nope. We're going to go back to the 80s again. And it's cool again. Nope. Going back. So, until we all just get pushed forward, we're kind of doing a weather retrograde right now around here. So, again, get out by yourself, or if you just want to be a hermit, that Virgo, Libra and Virgo, you might want to be a hermit, stay inside watching movies, horror movies. Y'all get AMC horror movies 24/7 all this month. So check it out. If you love them like me, have a nice glass of wine and let yourself just get swept away by those emotions that the movies are going to bring you, or something else that's just, doing on your own. Even if it's just self-care, taking a long bath, anything that makes you feel good. Venus will also be sextile to Jupiter. So what will make you happy? Maybe a little shopping spree, maybe Amazon cart haul. And that I actually did today. Went a little crazy buying Halloween stuff and decorations and fun stuff like that. I got a couple books for my little baby granddaughter. So if you have all that saving for later stuff in your cart, go ahead and buy it. But just do things within reason, of course, because Jupiter has a tendency to kind of do things to the excess. The Aries full moon likes spontaneity and can be foolhardy. So stay within your means, of course. You don't want to just buy everything that's in your cart or everything that looks good to you. I know it's hard not to sometimes, but sometimes you just have to, I'm going to keep saving this for later. So, but whatever you're doing, just think first, act second, do the opposite of, that there is a huge crow up there, and how fitting for this time of year. And I'm just watching it and it's a little creepy. So kind of like when we were out west and there was so many ravens, like they're huge out there and they just walk around instead of flying. And this one's just sitting in a tree. It's not really doing much, but anyway, just kind of letting you guys know my surroundings and, all that kind of spooky shit that goes on this time of year. So anyway, I do worry with everything that's going on, that this will have a negative side. We've had a lot of that. I think it's going to continue through the beginning, at least the first half of October, that we're still going to have a lot of kind of insanity going on a little bit, where we have actions based upon emotions. That's the moon in Aries. We have Mars in Scorpio. So acting on obsession. So somebody that just gets obsessed, like the person that murdered Charlie Kirk, like obsessed with what he was saying, not thinking it was right. And it must have just got to him so much that that's what made him do it. Not that that would ever make it right. But this is the things that can happen, is that our deep-seated emotions can cause somebody that might not be in the right state of mind to act out in a irrational or violent kind of way. We do have this Aries, is that fire, cardinal fire sign, where wants and actions driven by emotions that can be boiling over right now. And with all that that's happening, I hate to say that, but you really expect the worst, because so much craziness has been happening. It's like every day we're hearing something else. And if it isn't just for somebody getting shot and killed, or stabbed and killed, or beheaded, or shows getting canceled and bringing back, and just it's every day there's something crazy. So Mercury moved into Scorpio will move into Scorpio about 12 hours prior to this full moon. So we also have those, deep conversations, and you're really thinking deeply. Again, that obsession taking over, compulsions that you just feel compelled to do something because your mindset and those emotions are boiling over. And Mercury just continues to really just play a big role in these moon phases, just like it did with the eclipses that just happened last month. It was very mercurial, and that's going to really continue. Mercury's just hitting a lot of buttons. It will also square Pluto and quincunx Neptune and Uranus. So we talked about this last week. So when you have one planet that's quincunxing two others, it makes that long triangle. So the long, tall triangle. So we're, yes, having another effects of a yod. And the yod is, again, one planet, the key planet that is quincunx to two other planets. The key planet in this is where the finger of God is pointing, and the finger of God is pointing at Mercury. Mercury is going to be that game changer and that catalyst. How is that going to be? Unknown, mysterious, unexpected, sudden events, revelations that will come to light. Because when it's in a quincunx, it's something that you don't see and you don't understand. And you don't understand these changes. You don't understand quincunx to Neptune. I don't understand what's going on. So this mysteries or unveiling of something is going to come out. And we've seen this already happening with just, okay, my dog's making all kinds of weird noises here. That's not a pig in the background. So things, deep hidden secrets maybe, can come out of this and come into light, and again, we've seen a lot of this already happening with just, books that are coming out that, our ex-vice president wrote that has all these revelations of things like, well, this and this. And it's like, oh, okay, shit, like that, really? So I would expect to see more of this, more of these surprising revelations come up, not necessarily just about government or anything like that, but it could be in your own personal lives as well, as Mercury is a personal planet. So you could be getting some surprise news. You could be confused about something, and something could be pointing to, okay, how do I need to maybe rehab this conversation? Also expect more rebelliousness, pushbacks, unusual and unexpected thoughts that may feel uncomfortable, and it might make you feel unstable. So again, that leads into these emotions that can boil over and cause you to do something that could be erratic. Confusion between the rational and the irrational. You're forced to really adjust no matter how uncomfortable it might be, because that Uranus in there is forcing that change upon you. And it's like, oh, wait, and then you have Neptune and it's confusion, and it's like, okay, well, you got to do it. And then, somehow you have to come to grips with it in your mindset, maybe by, just focusing a little bit better, slowing down and trying to focus instead of just kind of being all over the place. So it might feel, actually, your brain might feel like, when you're laying in bed and you just can't get comfortable and you flip over this way and you flip over that way, your mind could be like that. Like you're trying to think of one thing and then these other thoughts are coming in, and then you can't focus on this, that previous thought, and just your focus is all over the place. So with Mercury also squaring Pluto on the 7th, that's the day after. So this is all happening around the same time. And these would be in the monthly, but kind of adding this all in with the full moon, because it's all kind of like a buildup and then what's going to happen during the waning period. So Mercury squaring Pluto again on the 7th, the day after this full moon. The square will just add more to the tension, because it is, maybe a little bit of rebelliousness against authority, or, like we don't have enough of that, but you might find it more on a personal level and not just, people push back against the government and what our president is doing, sending troops in or ICE agents, and maybe, this can be felt on a personal level, but we're also seeing it there with all that pushback. So that square isn't going to help anything. So we're going to continue seeing a lot of that, the boiling over tensions, acting out, obsessions taking over, people that are shooting at ICE agents or something because they don't like what they're doing, doesn't make it okay to shoot at people, because murder and injuring somebody, even if you don't kill them, is still a crime and it's bad and you can't do it. So, I don't know what the good answer would be. That's where we have to have that Libra harmony come in and just bring us some balance, bring us some inner harmony, so that we can kind of compromise with each other, compromise with the other side. Like, how can we work this out, and how can we make this better instead of just being polar opposites, the way that this full moon is, with that Mars, and then that not Mars, but the Aries, and then the Venusian ruled Libra, where it's just like, I want to go out on my own and do my own thing, and then this one wants to, you know, kind of be more harmonious. So also, you know, that with these obsessions taking over, it can again compel people with weak minds to do dangerous and violent things. So always be aware, self-aware of what might be going on in your own head. Be aware of anybody around you that, you know, if somebody's, a lot of what this Mercury can help us with is hearing things and understanding things and comprehending things that are coming out of people's mouths that could be almost a call for help, that they're in danger of doing something bad. So definitely keep your mind open to that. You know, we have these big erratic ideas that it could be coming up, you know, on a personal level, you're maybe overthinking it. So again, take it easy. If you're, you know, at work or in your personal life, you know, don't take criticism to heart. You know, maybe you feel like you're being backstabbed. Maybe somebody told, you know, your boss something, and, you know, and he had to come talk to you, and then you're all upset about it. Well, don't take it to heart. Just take what's necessary. You know, if people are talking behind your back, then it is what it is. Who cares? You just got to kind of let it go. But we could feel a little more paranoid because of that square to Pluto with authority. We could have, because of that that yod that's going on with those two quincunxes. Again, we could be confused. We could be seeing things we don't know what's true, what's not true. So you just want to like slow your head down, slow your mind down. Don't let your ADD get away from you and have you go off track. Mercury is a fast moving planet. So its effects will be quick and will happen like that. But with the square to Jupiter and Pluto, the effects can be, you know, of any erratic, violent, outspoken, or misinterpretations can last a long time. Things with that Jupiter is blowing things up, and then with the Pluto is, okay, now things are going to change, and that's the way it goes because this happened. So, you know, throughout especially the waning process. So as the moon wanes down, we'll be dealing with the repercussions of maybe the things, people acting out, us acting out, you know, us acting erratic, or just our brains working on overdrive and screwing up a lot. Because if you can't focus on one thing, if you're scatterbrained and you're nervous and paranoid, that's when you start making a lot of mistakes. That can be at work or in just your everyday life, really. Years ago, I had broken up with somebody. I just met my husband now, and the person who I had broken up with was being very mentally abusive, and it wouldn't stop. So I was very stressed. I was driving home and I crashed my car, and my husband now, who I'd only talked to like pretty much one time, I texted him a couple times and met him once, he came over and pretty much never left from there on. So, I mean, things can happen for a reason, but when your mind is erratic, things bad could happen. If it wasn't for him coming over and pretty much being my savior, it would have been a bad time, but it ended up being a good time. So, you know, things happen for a reason. So with, again, the square to Pluto and Jupiter, what you do, the mistakes now can be so big, they may transform your future. So try and really douse, if possible, that fire and that paranoia. How can you do that with that Mars ruled moon, with that Mars in Scorpio? You do that by maybe working out, go down, have a run, go down your basement. I say that because I have a treadmill in my basement, or go out on the road, have a run, go for a hike, do some, punch boxing, scream into a pillow, anything to kind of just let the anger out in a safe way. So you want to douse that, because a few days later, Venus will be in opposition to Saturn and then Neptune, and then we'll be back home in her home of Libra. So finally, and she's going to trine Uranus and then Pluto, creating again a grand trine. Now, we've talked about those a lot lately. We have a lot of grand trines, we have the kites, and all this positivity, and people are probably like, well, where the hell is it? Like, I don't see anything positive. Everything just feels like the world's on fire. Mars, fire sign, Aries, fire sign. Woods is pretty alive. Like, there's branches and I don't see a squirrel anywhere. Anyway, so why does it again feel like our world is still on fire? Because this represents, our hope in an air trine, and Venus in Libra at that time can bring some harmony. But it's not just going to happen. You have to make it happen. So if you know a way that you can, if you see somebody that is kind of going off the deep end, bring them some harmony, talk with them, better thoughts, listen to what they say, bring some harmony to your own erratic thoughts and obsessive thoughts, and just kind of calm them down a little bit. Uranus in Gemini, Pluto in Aquarius. The outer planets are moving slowly, but with Venus, plan for a more balanced and harmonious future. So it's showing that it might take a while because of these slow moving outer planets that are, retrograding too. So it's like, okay, we're going back over the same shit again. Okay, well, look at what the world, you could be doing this in your personal life. I'm going to use just, what's going on in the United States as an example. Okay, so we're going back over this, something horrible happens. Let's come together. Let's make this end. And nope, same shit, different day, and everyone's still picking at each other. And now we're having a government shutdown. That's very Saturn, just shutting down and closing off. And, so we have to go through this again to learn more from it. Hopefully there won't be any more violence, but this is what the retrograding planets do. And with the slower moving retrograding planets, we have a lot more to kind of go over. Like, this isn't going to be like this quick Mercury, like, let's learn a quick lesson, and because I texted my ex and now I feel like stupid. No, it's a little bit different. So, we want this fair and balanced and harmonious future. And how are we going to get it? So it's really finding a way to mediate the oppositions, Libra, or Venus, for the ability to compromise for the greater good. So it's a step toward a positive future with a little give and take. So, but with this full moon, again, emotions are on high. On a broad scale, expect, again, the protest to continue, rebellion, shit talk, mudslinging. It's not going away anytime soon. It's going to be going on for a little while because of all this retrograding and going back over the same stuff again. All that, it's raising the temperature more. It's already boiling and it's just raising it even further. So it's like we're waiting to hit that, that apex, that peak of, when's it going to end? Chill. Come on, get out of there. It's a huge hole in the ground. So she's going and messing with it. But if we can make it through the first half of this month, I pray that it's going to be unscathed, of course, without any more senseless tragedies happening. And maybe the opposite sides, both coming to a type of agreement. Maybe the government shutdown will help to have people kind of like see the light. I don't know. The second half looks a little bit easier. With the full moon in particular, take time for you. Say, Aries. If you feel like you need to escape reality, again, do it safely. So like I said earlier, if you want to sit home and have a glass of wine and watch movies, don't shoot up heroin to calm down. Like, you know, do things safely, do things smartly, don't drink too much, don't overdo it with that Jupiter, where we can blow things out of proportion a little bit. Even escaping a relationship, you might feel the need to, or a friendship. You might feel like if something's toxic, you might need to escape that. So the escapism could be just from a crowd or just from a person that is toxic. We might see some breakups that might be unexpected. Already we've seen with Keith Urban, is that his name? And Nicole Kidman. And that was kind of a surprise to me. I don't know. I don't keep up with celebrities very much. But I've been watching a lot of her little movies and stuff. And it's like, oh, okay, that's crazy. But why? Because just before the full moon, we have Venus conjunct the North Node. So this is leading us to strive for what we need in our relationships that we may not be getting, our relationship goals, relationship goals. So this weekend, keep your eyes open for those red flags or green flags. So something that might be like a go ahead, maybe if you were kind of on the edge, or something that might be like, you know what, I'm freaking done. I'm done with this. And, because what you truly desire might be in reach, but if you're holding on to something that's not working, you might just miss it. So maybe it isn't a relationship with a new prospect waiting in the wings, perhaps, that, might be the relationship goal you're looking for. So keep an open mind, of course. And, don't be afraid to just cut ties if you need to. Sometimes it is scary, even if it's with a job. I did that. It was very scary. I'm very happy now. So, sometimes you just have to force yourself to do something in order to grow and, benefit and maybe even have a saner mind. As I mentioned, a few days following the full moon, Venus is all over the place. So she is making all the same hits that, the other smaller planets are doing, because they're all hitting, well, she's going to be in the sextile with Jupiter. So that's positive. Then opposite Saturn, opposing Neptune. The sextile to Jupiter can be lucky in love, or any of those Venusian things like, oh my God, I'm shopping and I got a great deal on this. And, I just bought a new camera and it was 50% off. So, that's already happening. So it's already past the first. So, good things can be happening. And then it's going to, unfortunately, oppose Saturn and then oppose Neptune. So maybe if you do have that great new wardrobe, or you bought something, or you just did a new hair color and it's working out great for you, money issues might be waning away. All of a sudden we get those oppositions that could lead to a little bit wrestling with actually committing to something. If it is in a relationship, again, this is where, that brass ring is there, but I don't know if I'm ready to make that commitment yet. So you're going to be wrestling with that, maybe with a contract, signing off on something. If you're going to purchase a big purchase, like a car or something, and then signing that contract is a little scary, or, maybe you're just confused, maybe you're uncertain, who knows? But the trines to Uranus and Pluto that come up show us that the end change is going to be for the good and will transform our lives for the better. It might not make everybody happy, but it's all about compromise in the end. And so we all benefit in a way. And so not just one side, not just the other side, but it's all a give and take. Give a little, take a little, and then that's where you get that balanced scale. You got to give a little bit and then take a little bit. And that's what's going to keep you balanced. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button and let me know what you think in the comments. Also subscribe. We have some interesting stuff coming up again this month. Definitely check out the videos from the trip and the other stuff on my a travel vlog, and I think you're gonna find it a lot of fun. So check them out. Let me know what you think, and I will see y'all soon. Bye.